We're live. And there was a countdown. My job is done. All right, I'm good.
Did it.
Hi, everybody. We are so excited to be live tonight. And look at who they let go live. They just let all of us be live together, and they're in big trouble. So if you are watching, we are streaming on, let's see if I can get them all. We are streaming on our private Facebook group, our regular Facebook page. We've got our YouTube, our Twitch, and our Twitter. We are just everywhere tonight, coming at you from every place. So if you're joining us, say hi to us. Tell us that you're here. And why don't we go around and introduce ourselves in case anyone doesn't know who we are? Becky, you want to start?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I am Becky Schnitzer. I'm a K-5 science educator in Virginia, and I am a member of the Teach Better team along with these lovely ladies. And I'm super excited to talk about Jen's awesome book.
Olivia, go ahead.
I'm Olivia. I'm a head teacher up in Vancouver, Canada. I also teach grade 5 and part of the Teach Better team, and just so excited about this new book.
And I'm Jennifer Apple, so I'm kind of the reason we're here, I guess. So I'm an author and I'm also an educator. I'm at Enterprise Middle School in West Richland, and I am right now a technology coach, innovation coach. But I've taught pretty much everything for the last 22 years. But yeah, that's pretty much me.
And I am Megan Deegan. I teach 7th grade math in the suburbs of Chicago, and I'm also the ambassador program coordinator for the Teach Better team. John, I feel like you sold yourself a little short there. You were like, this is, I guess I'm kind of the reason why. You are totally the reason why we're here. We're so excited to celebrate you. Guys, in case you don't know, we're live tonight, not just because we like to go live together and just want to talk, because that's fun too. We're live to celebrate Jen's new book. And let me tell you, it is literally amazing. I mean, it doesn't, like, even just the cover, it doesn't get any cuter than that. It does not get any better than that. We've got, let's see, we've got Nikki here with us. Hi, Nikki. And she cannot wait to get her hands on your new book. Nikki, you will not be disappointed. It is amazing. Amazing. Jen, you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, thank you. Gosh, that was like a really good introduction there. Yeah, so it's the second book in the award-winning dog series, and it's about Ginger. Those of you that read the first book, you may remember Ginger. She was in there. And Maya, she was one of the people that Maya wanted to be because she was beautiful and perfect and everything she thought she wanted. And the cool thing is in this book, it kind of shows who Ginger really is, not just the outside appearance of her. So Ginger comes across as like, she's perfect, she's beautiful, she has everything going. And internally, she's really struggling with like stress and anxiety. And so in this book is just kind of Ginger's journey through discovering like what kind of things trigger her, with her anxiety, and then how she copes with that anxiety. So it's her kind of dealing with that anxious, like energy, and then what she does to kind of counteract it to try to like help her deal with those situations. So it's really right now, I think it's like a book that a lot of us need. I know I was writing it going, I kind of need this. Like it was therapeutic for me just to write it, because it's like, that stress and anxiety we're feeling right now is just kind of like, it just kind of helps like calm you down a little bit.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. And I love that you said too, it really does take you through the journey. I think that was one of my favorite parts too, is it really kind of identifies all the different feelings and how to cope with those. And I think that is so important, because right now, like you said, with everything going on, stress and anxiety, I'm pretty sure for absolutely everyone is way higher than normal. So it's perfect timing. It just really kind of walks through from beginning to end, and I love it. I loved every second of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know I sent a message to Jen. I said, I didn't want the book to end. I just wanted more.
Yeah. I loved just the topic in general, like just echoing what everyone is saying about just feelings of anxiety. And I loved how the character shows you anxiety in so many different ways, and how in different situations it looks and it feels very different. And looking at it from you feeling those feelings and experiencing that, but also the other side. What does that look like from someone else looking in? I just felt like in such a small, not small in a negative way, but in a small children's picture book, you captured these really big ideas, these big feelings, these big reactions. And it's so powerful. I was just like Megan and Livia. I was like, no, it can't be over yet. There's like 5 more pages, right? Please. Yes. No? Okay. There must be another book, right? So yeah, it's an amazing book. I loved it.
Thank you. And I think that's what I'm always going for is like, I was a second grade teacher, like that was my training. And so I kind of like think in that second grade mind. And it's like, how do you bring up these topics with kids? Like, how do you start talking about this with a second grader? Like, how are you going to talk about stress and anxiety? And I remember I had like test anxiety and I had that stress, but I never knew what it was. I never had a name for it. I just knew like I got really nauseous. I got like, overheated. I knew all these things happened, but I didn't really know what it was until I was probably in my 20s. I finally figured out, oh, this is what this is. And we didn't talk about it as much in the 80s, like we didn't talk about anxiety. And so I think it's like, it just opens that door to talk about it with kids. And it's a cute dog that's like going through these things and they can kind of relate to it. Like it's not necessarily you can see yourself in an animal easier than like, oh, that person doesn't look like me or that person doesn't act like me. It's not me. It's kind of like, oh, anyone can relate to it when it's an animal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think, and you were so correct on that. I think, as kids, so many kids are feeling this way. And, maybe they always did before, maybe now just with everything going on, it's really amplified. And it can be difficult to talk about. And a lot of times they can tell you how they're feeling, but they don't know that it's anxiety, that it's, stress, and they don't know kind of how to deal with that. So I think that I would agree. I, like you, I've had anxiety forever, but I never really understood that that's what it was until a couple of years ago. And now I'm like, oh, okay. And so I think that it's you just put this book together that talks about it so in like just the perfect way, because like you said, like who doesn't relate to cute dogs? It actually truly made me stop and think too. At certain times I was like, oh, I wonder if my dog felt like that too. And then I was like, but it does, but it also opens up that kind of empathy and understanding maybe how other people are feeling and being able to maybe see other people's struggles or what they're dealing with. So I just kind of love like every angle of it. It was phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I also want to bring up the idea that he's got that friend, right, Mr. Owl, and that whatever you're dealing with, you have other people you can lean on, right? And I just love that piece.
Yeah. That's so.
And I think it's from the first book, like Maya had the 3 friends. So she had the rabbit, the squirrel, and the duck that she like went to, because it was like, I need to talk to my friends and like help me figure this out. And so Ginger has that same thing of the owl of like, I'm going to go here. And then she I feel like the owl, I try to kind of portray it as, since my husband's a counselor, like, I try to portray the owl as like a wise, like a counselor kind of thing, where they don't actually give you the answers, but they help you come to those answers yourself. And so that's what I was kind of going with there is like, this is kind of like the counselor up here that's kind of like listening and there for you, but then you come to your own, answers yourself, as the Ginger did. She kind of came to her own consensus of, oh, I understand now, right?
That's self-discovery.
Yeah, I love that. As an elementary teacher myself, all I could think, I read it a couple times with different hats on, like not this one, but you know what I'm saying, right? Not my little but I read it just for a story. This awesome book, right? I'm going to read it like that. And then I was like, oh, as an educator, how would I use this in my classroom? And I kept coming up with, oh my gosh, of course, the social emotional part of it, but then character development and looking at just all of these different pieces, and even having students write their own book based on that. Can you take a feeling that you have and write your own book and come up with your own characters? And maybe they're human characters, but maybe they're animal characters too. And you get that social studies and that science in there. My wheels kept spinning about how the million different ways that we could use this book. It can just be for funsies, and that's great. Or we could use this as an education tool for many subjects, not just one. We could spread this out. There are so many lessons to be had from this book. So I can't say it feels Harry Potter like, as big as it is, right? You know, Harry Potter books are like super thick. The story is like this, but it feels there's so much in it. It can be super complex, or it can be very like, just here's the story. I can't say enough about this book. So if anybody is not convinced, call me and I will tell you 100 million reasons. Maybe I should blog about it. Like, this is why you need this book today, not tomorrow, today.
That's awesome. Thank you, Becky.
It's going to be getting it as a gift idea. It sounds like Bex Bell, because she says her kids' school mascot is an owl. That's perfect.
That's awesome. And to go along with what you said, Becky, I have actually 3 lesson plans that you can get for free on my website. And so one of them is positive self-talk. And so, because that's one of the things that Ginger discovers is positive self-talk. So there's actually like a kind of like a worksheet that you can work through with the kids, and actually like they will do some positive self-talk. And then the other one I have is square breath, which where you breathe like a square, like kids do, you know, just like we do in like yoga, but we don't have to have the square anymore, right? But it's that concept that kids can learn, like this is how you breathe in and out. And then the last one is safe space. And so it's coming up with what is your safe space. For Ginger, it was that like ocean waves, the lavender, all those things. And if it wasn't, I tried to make it in the illustration. So it wasn't, she didn't say, oh, I'm going to this lavender field with ocean behind, like it was in the pictures. And so as adults, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, well, lavender's for anxiety and like ocean, you know, you can see all those things. And so as adults, like you can talk about those pictures, like what's in her safe space? Like, what is it there? And the funny thing is that Ginger was my real dog. She was Maya's older sister. She passed away a few years ago, but she had severe anxiety. And so she actually, I learned a lot of things about anxiety by having this dog. And I had lavender. So I had like a diffuser in her little room. And so she had lavender and it totally relaxed her, calmed her. I would put it like behind her ears on her fur, and she would just like lay back when I did it, because that smell like helped her relax. And I have ocean sounds. So I have like little iPods around our house, and I still have them. I can't sleep without them. And I have them like all around our house of like, it's just like this background noise of like to help. And it would calm her down. Like she would like go over by the iPod and just like lay there, like, and listen to the music, because it would actually like calm her. So I just think like all those strategies I use with her, like humans can use the same thing. Like they're all things that work for all of us.
And Hans, again, he said, great point, Becky. Picture books have such layered ideas that apply to varying developmental ages. I was even sitting there thinking too, I mean, I teach 7th grade. So, you know, I'm reading this book that's supposed to be, you know, maybe made more for elementary. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, first of all, SEL is so huge right now. You know, it's what everybody's been really focusing on and pushing, because it's what our kids need. But I think about like the SEL topics that I talk about in the year with my kids. Positive self-talk is one of them. You know, it's, you know, strategies to cope with things. So it's all like, this book is perfect for my kids because it's all things that we already talk about. And again, I think too, there's just that comfortability when you're reading about it. And at least for me, like when I'm reading about it in terms of like dogs, I'm like, oh yeah. And then, but really you're sitting there going, no, yeah, I feel that way too. And that happens to me. And like, you know, when like in the crowd, yep, that's how I am, like with a lot of people. So I think it's so relatable on so many different levels, but to every single age group, you know, across the board, everybody is going to find something in this book and be able to relate to it. And Dave, you are too sweet.
Dave.
And Candace says she had a moment today with her second period where she just stopped because of what she was hearing from her students, and they did a 3-minute breathing exercise. And she was amazed at the outcome. Many even took a moment to thank me for taking the time. It's so true, that these are all things that are, again, so much more important now than I think they ever have been before. And your kids, given that safe space, if that is a safe space, they're, they can tell you what they need, and you are going to just using some of those skills, a 3-minute just breathing break, things like that giving them those strategies and helping them learn to cope with what they're feeling, that can be huge. And that's how they're going to learn to use that moving forward in different situations.
And I love how it could be a really great launch board into discovering what works for you. And, I can imagine the brainstorming sessions that you can have on all the different ways that other people cope with anxiety. And maybe there's a strategy that somebody hadn't thought about that they can try on. And it could be one of those things like trying on clothes. Okay, I'm going to try this strategy this time and try a different one next time. And then really discovering what works for you, because what works for me may not work for Jen, and vice versa, right?
Absolutely. And again, really making the SEL authentic, like in real time. And it's true, and sometimes if people are not as comfortable having these conversations, because it can be difficult, and, it can be, especially now, but even before, it can be difficult to talk about some of those concepts. And maybe, if you're someone who doesn't have anxiety, that can make it even add kind of another layer of maybe difficulty, because you don't maybe know how it feels and it can be hard to relate. But I think that this is just, this is a way to open that door and have that conversation. And it's going to make that conversation, I think, start just flowing and be very, very comfortable to have.
And even if you don't have anxiety, I'm sure there are a lot of kids that feel nervousness, right? And they're very similar feelings. So, how do you deal with that nervousness? And when does that nervousness kind of become anxiety?
Yeah, and I like that. And they can learn about each other too. If they start to feel comfortable and they say, oh my gosh, every time we're about to have a spelling test, this is how I feel. And sometimes I act like this. And it's because I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling nervous. And then they start to notice too. Like I look over and I know Jen, before spelling test, she shared with me that it makes her anxious and she behaves this way. And I noticed that. And then she's told me this helps me cope with it. And I can say, oh, great. I'm going to give her my lucky pencil for that test because I know she shared that with me. And then they have these awesome connections, and you see those beautiful relationships in your classroom, which are awesome. And that can happen on Zoom too, right? They might have signals on Zoom that they share with you, and you're like, you know what? Every time I turn my camera off, that means I'm not feeling great. And so then you as the educator or you as the friend know, and you can chat and say, oh man, noticed your camera's off. Let me know what I can do. Or, hey, don't worry about it. Go take a walk around your house. So I love when they share those things, and you get that much more of a connection, whether it's you as the educator or student to student or vice versa. Like I share with my students all the time, like, man, if you ever see me stop and, do this and I just close my eyes, it's because I need to reset. And so they'll see me do that too. And they're like, oh, we saw you took a reset. And I'm like, yes, I did. So it's just really, those connections are amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think this is, I like what you both said, because this does, I hope that it helps kids identify what works for them. Because just because in the book, I happen to use strategies that work for me and work for gender and work for, some people, but it's not what works for everybody. When I'm stressed out, I go exercise. Like I have to move around and work out, that's like a release of stress for me is I like to exercise. And Ginger used to be the same way. She would walk for 10 miles. She would want to go for a long walk, to get that energy out, because it was okay, I have all this energy. But I think the other thing, I remember when we got Ginger in 2004. So a long time ago. I'd only been teaching 5 years. And I remember something about Ginger that really taught me about anxiety and stress and everything else is that she was the most compliant dog I've ever had. Like, we will never have another dog that is as well behaved as Ginger was. Like, she potty trained literally, I think, in one day. Like, we told her to not pee on the floor and she never did again. Like, I mean, that was it. Like, we're done, never again. She was great. Like 8 hours without having to pee. Like, it was just like, it just happened. And walking, like, she walked next to me, like on the pet, like never anything like, I mean, she trained so quickly. She was so compliant, but I realized it was because of her anxiety. And so because she had these like anxious distress, for her, it came out as she was this quiet, like the nicest dog you've ever met. Like, she was just so quiet and compliant and did exactly what she was supposed to, because she was so afraid of getting in trouble, right? She was so afraid of that future. And so I really, like, you know, only my 5th year teaching, I went, wait a minute, that kid that's sitting in my room, that's doing everything they're supposed to, they've got straight A's, they're having a ton of anxiety. And then they're going home and mom's like, oh my God, like, and it releases, right? Or they're exhausted and they sleep for like 3 hours or whatever it is, because they have to, like, this compliancy comes out because they're having so much anxiety. And it really, like, I know it's strange to learn a lot of things from a dog, but I learned so much from Ginger, and like the way that she behaved, I was like, oh my gosh, like these kids that are showing this like extreme compliancy, there's something else going on, right? And we don't always notice that because we're like, they're a great kid, they're getting straight A's, like, you know, they're doing what they're supposed to. So
I think I think we're all sitting here thinking about all of our kids right now and thinking, and it's true. It looks different in everyone. Everyone has different ways to cope, but everyone also displays it differently. And I think that is so true. You know, how many times and I'm not going to say overlook, but how many times is your focus maybe less on the kids that are compliant and, you know, getting good grades because, you know, you don't have to worry about them. But, you know, it brings up then, you know, is there more to that? Are they, you know, when they're going home and I've talked to the parents like that, you know, they go home and they're sleeping all the time, or they go home and it's kind of like they let loose. It's because they've really, like you said, they've just been like holding it together and been so compliant all day because of their anxiety. So I think that that's huge. And a whole nother piece to this too is just in all the different ways that your students might be displaying and, you know, what that might look like. Yes. And I love this, especially now. You know, I think that it is okay not to be okay. It truly does give the readers permission to feel. It absolutely does. Like, Hans, you could not have said that more perfectly. That's so true. It is okay not to be okay. And that's such an important, all the time, that's such an important, you know, idea, but especially now, like, it's okay. And it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to feel however you're feeling. It's okay to say it. It's okay to acknowledge it. And not every day has to be your best day, or, you know, every day isn't going to be like, you giving your best isn't going to look the same every day. And sometimes you're going to have days that are just harder than other days, and that's okay. I think too, now I don't want to forget this piece because everybody needs to know this. Jen, how do we get this book?
Yeah, we should probably tell people that. That's
it's really important. I don't want to miss.
You don't need to buy it. We've already talked about it. Yeah. So yeah, you can get it a few different places. So our website, awardwinningculture.com. That's probably the easiest. You'll get it the quickest. And Maya and I will sign it for you. So we'll send that to you and you get stickers and everything with it. So you can get it on our website, or you can get it on Amazon. It's live right now on Amazon, and it's on Etsy. So you can order from any of the places now. It's available. So it'll probably take a couple days to ship out, but it's available now, so you can purchase it now. Yeah.
That is so exciting. So everybody just stop what you're doing right now and run to one of those 3 websites and order it right now, because you want it like ASAP right now, preferably. Next few days, you want to have that in your hands because it is literally the best.
And Jen, for the people who don't have your first book, The Award-Winning Dog, do you have a bundle?
I do. Yes, that's a good question. So there is a bundle where you can get both books, and it's a little cheaper. So yeah, you can get Award-Winning Dog and you can get I'm Who together. And if you really want to be daring, you can get Hans's book, Award-Winning Culture, and then both of the children's books. So you can get all three, and that's even cheaper. So if you haven't gotten Hans's book yet either, which is awesome on school culture, so you can get all three if you want. So
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Award-Winning Culture site, and those 3 lessons that we're talking about, you got to buy up top and then scroll down, and you can get the lessons that go along with it. I'm not kidding; it's right here. So that's awesome. That's and apparel. Look at you guys.
yeah, you can get a T-shirt with Maya's face on it. Yeah, I mean, if you want to walk around with Maya's face, which I do often.
Let's do it.
That's awesome. My dog just barked as soon as you said that. So I don't know if that means she wants a t-shirt with Maya's face or she's upset that I would have one with Maya's face. One of the two.
Right. Maybe you need matching ones. Like, yeah,
There
Maya,
you go.
Maya has one and I have one, so we can be matching. Yeah, maybe you need matching ones.
That needs to be next, Jen. You guys need to come out with shirts for pets.
We do. You're right. You're right. We do. We need pet apparel next, so then everyone can have the Award-Winning Dog apparel for dogs.
Yes.
Speaking of pets, you also included some of our friends' pets in your story, didn't you?
I did. Yes. So there we have 3 guest stars in our book. So we have locally, there's a little dog named Tiba. She's the cutest golden retriever. And she's in the book. She is, she goes out and helps at the schools. And so she's a service dog. And so she goes into the schools and like works with the kids and everything. She's adorable. So she's in the book. And then Hope, who is Judy's dog, and she was adopted during the pandemic. She's the cutest dog. She's got little freckles on her nose. Anyways, she's adorable. And my illustrator did an amazing job drawing her. And then we also have Tasty, which is Jeff's dog, is also in there. And Tasty has a pretty big little picture. I don't know if you guys saw, but Tasty got a big picture talking to Ginger. So yeah, she's pretty cute in there too. Yeah, so there's 3 guest stars, which was really fun to have them in the book and be able to like feature them as like fun dogs and everything. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was an awesome idea.
That is so awesome. I absolutely love that. Mainly just because I love looking at all the other dogs too. So
Yeah, and my illustrator, Herb Leonard, is the illustrator of both my books, and he's amazing. Like, I really feel like he's just like can read my mind, like somehow, like he's like psychic or something, because I give him like pretty detailed descriptions, like this is what I want. I give him photographs and stuff, but like I don't know, like he gives me the pictures for the book, and I'm like, there's like nothing to change. I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Like, he does it perfectly. Like, his illustrations are amazing. I don't know what you guys thought, but I love his illustrations.
they were awesome. Awesome. Becky, have you ordered your book yet?
I'm trying to decide. I think my cart has everything in it, like even the bundle, like everything by itself, and all the bundle options. Like, it's a problem. But now, like, my head's just spinning with all the characters, because now I'm like, oh my gosh, then we could have like a shirt for each character, and then you can have like character bundle shirts, and then I'm ready to merchandise for you.
I'll just call you when I'm ready for like the next 3 books, and we'll just have Becky like do everything for me.
I can't actually do that stuff, but I can give you ideas.
Right. You'll just be like, this is what you need to do. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I love that.
I love it.
I forgot about the guest pets in there. And as I'm looking again at the pictures, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, there's Stacy. There. Oh my gosh. That's so fun. So how did you connect with your illustrator initially? Like, how did this all come together?
It's kind of funny because he is actually local. And so he doesn't live that far from me. He's only about half an hour from where I live. And he does illustrations for like wine labels. We're a big wine country here. We have a lot of wineries. And so he actually illustrates some of the like designs for like the wine bottles and stuff. And so I'd heard about him, and I was like, do you do like children's books and stuff? I'd seen some of his stuff, and he does kind of more like the dinosaurs, like fantasy, But I was like, do you think he'd want to do this? And he's like, sure, I'll try it. And he did like one drawing for me to see. And I was like, all right, we're done. Like, yeah, you're it. Like, That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And I wanted my pictures to be kind of like the illustrations to be more kind of that watercolor kind of feel, you know, like that lighter, like pastellies kind of. And Ginger's book is brighter than Maya's book was, but just kind of like that soft feel, you know, to him. And he was really good at it. He was perfect. He was awesome.
That's so cool. I love that.
The illustrations are amazing. I love them.
And everyone that's a Sheltie person is like, oh my gosh, like he captured the Sheltie. Because Shelties are hard. They've got all that fur, you know, they look like collies, like miniature collies. And so they've got tons of fur. And so they're just like, everyone that owns Sheltie, like, oh, it looks just like a Sheltie. Like they're perfect. They're so excited about it. It's pretty funny.
And you have a new baby.
I do have a new baby. Yeah. Winnie is her name. She's adorable. Yeah. She's pretty cute. She wasn't cared for the first 3 months of her life. So we're trying to care for her and, you know, get her fattened up, and she's actually eating, and she's been like acting like a dog lately. So I'm like, yay. Like, you know, she's starting to like, she pulled all her toys out and brought them out today. And so she was all excited. Here she is. Here she is.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
Is she not the cutest thing? Yeah. She's
She's so
adorable because the poor baby wasn't really fed. So she's very skinny. She's very small for her age. She should be a little bit bigger, but we're fattening her up. She'll get there. She'll look like Maya soon.
Well, I can't wait to see her in one of your books.
I know. We have to have a Winnie book now. I know. Winnie, you have to be in a book now. She doesn't quite know how to be on camera yet. She's in training. See, look at the camera here. See, that's
Everybody loves her.
You gotta look that way. You gotta look straight on. she'll get as good at Maya on the camera. Yeah,
Oh,
she'll get to be as good
so
as Maya.
cute.
She is, yeah. She is pretty cute.
Adorable. All right, let's take a few. We have talked about a lot, and there is just so many good things. Let's like recap everything real quick in case, you know, anybody hasn't been watching us from the beginning. We have your very newest book, which is literally amazing. Everybody stop what you're doing. I'm Who. You better go get it right now. So stop what you're doing, go get it. I'm going to say it's a children's book, yes, but it's not. It's really for everyone. Across the board, it does not matter what age. I would use it with my middle schoolers. You can use it with high school kids. It is, I mean, I read it as an adult and I was like, yes, this is how I feel sometimes. And so it is for everyone. And it's just an incredible book about anxiety and stress. And it's just an incredible journey to kind of read through from really start to finish of what it looks like, how it feels, how to cope with it. You walk away with strategies. There are 3, not 1, not 2, 3 free lesson plans that you can get. 3 free lesson plans. You can go get it right now. You can go to Amazon or Etsy, or where you should really go because it comes with much better things, awardwinningculture.com. Because Jen, when you order from there, what do you get?
You get a signed copy, you get stickers, you get a little bookmark, you get the whole little package. Yeah.
Yeah. How could you not want all that?
Johans.
And
Yeah, there you go.
off the website.
Awardwinningculture.com.
Oh, yeah, the pencil. Sorry.
Go order your book. You will not regret it. It is amazing. And it's truly everything we need right now. It's an open conversation that you can have with your kids. But it's probably everything a lot of them are feeling right now. A lot of our kids are just stressed out. Some of them have anxiety. I'm pretty sure like all of them are just stressed out about something. And they need that. They need to be able to have that conversation. They need that SEL. And why not use a book about dogs to help them relate to it? Because who doesn't love relating to dogs and reading about dogs? I don't know who wouldn't want to read about dogs. And you get to look at some phenomenal pictures of really cute dogs too. So really it's like a win-win-win all the way around.
In fact, I believe it's award winning.
I like what you did there.
Ooh. Good one, Becky.
Love it. Love it. Well, we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. And hopefully you are all literally, as soon as this is over, you're going to go order your book. I know I am. And again, you will not regret it. It is amazing. We read it. So take our word for it. You can call Becky if you really need a recommendation, but trust me, it's amazing. You want this in your hands. You want to read this with your kids. It's just going to open, I think, so many amazing conversations. So thank you for joining us. Go get your book. Jen is amazing. She's just going to keep writing literally the greatest books ever. Because I wish they were around when I was younger, but I'll take them now because I'm just learning so much.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
It's true. It really is true. Your books have just, again, I know they're children's books, but really they're like adult books too. So
They're for anybody. I love children's books. I still read them all the time. I love them. And I read them to my middle schoolers all the time. They love story time. They love reading children's books. Language arts teacher, like I use them all the time. They're perfect.
yeah, they really are. There's just so many lessons and so many, different ways that you can relate it to them.
Right.
So thank you everybody for joining us. We hope you have a great rest of your night and a great rest of your week. And we want you to just go order the book right now because you're going to love it and you're going to want it. All right. Bye guys. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.